At the April 19th Senate meeting, many who voted against the DEI committee formation assumed that the faculty would be removed from EODAC and voted accordingly to keep EODAC a fully participatory governance. There were some voting in favor of the DEI committee who assumed that faculty would remain on EODAC, while others who voted in favor of the DEI committee assumed that faculty would be removed from EODAC and the DEI committee would operate separately in parallel with EODAC. There's also the fact that the referendum did not get the majority of the membership needed. So the approved EODAC charge with all the faculty membership and tasks is still officially approved. With as much overlap or duplication of the tasks as we see, how would the work of the faculty on EODAC mesh with the work on the DEI committee? If the duplicated tasks were removed from EODAC, then how would the classified staff, administration, and students have voice and vote in the application of those tasks to their own groups? If faculty remain on EODAC and the duplicated tasks are kept in EODAC, but in a form that applies only to classified staff, administration, and students, would the EODAC faculty be voting on those tasks? Wouldn't a clear decision-making process be that if the faculty have the DEI committee, then the faculty are removed from EODAC as originally intended? Using the historical record of the Senate meeting recordings, and the public and written comments of those responding to the effects of DEI on EODAC document would make one reasonably conclude that the faculty will be removed from EODAC starting in fall of 2023. Here is what Stephen Holmes said about the faculty removal from EODAC from the recording of the February 15th Senate meeting. Now, if I had time, I would edit in the actual recording there so we could have it for this video, but we'll just go with what he said as I read it here. At time point 59 minutes and 5 seconds into the recording, Holmes says the DEI committee is also an alternative to the EODAC. As a body, you have a right to suspend your membership in EODAC. It's an alternative plan. Now, by suspend your membership, Holmes is referring to Article 8, Section 13 of the Senate bylaws. In spring and fall of 2022, Holmes had talked with me several times about invoking Article 8, Section 13 and removing the faculty from EODAC. At the February 15th, 2023 Senate meeting, Holmes handed out the 2019 EODAC charge with all of the tasks he said were 10+1 in red font. Those are bullets number 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 10, 11, and 12. That is almost all of the EODAC tasks. The DEI committee would decide the faculty components of those bullets. At 1 hour and 18 minutes and 51 seconds into the recording of the February 15 meeting, our student rep asked, what was the point of the DEI committee? Was it meant to replace EODAC? Stephen's response was, quote, "It is an alternative to EODAC, yes, made of faculty with input from students' administration. If we want to add input from staff, that would be great." At 1 hour, 37 minutes and 21 seconds into the February 15th recording, Holmes said that DEI, quote, would look solely at 10+1 as it applies to diversity, equity, inclusion. It would communicate with an existing EODAC that would continue probably to meet based off of classified administration. We would focus solely on what falls within our 10+1, which based on what I saw at other schools, based on what EODAC started doing, end quote. At 1 minute, 37 minutes, and 54 seconds of the February 15th recording, Holmes said, quote, I would suggest that we don't carry a representative on EODAC, that we have our own committee, that we just communicate with them with regard to things we are moving around, whether that be in collaboration with workshops, collaborations with some type of function we're having on campus, collaboration with maybe some policies that are outside of the scope of 10+1 that might deal with the campus in general, end quote. The February 15 recording shows 3 times where it was clearly pointed out, quote, what happened at the Budget Committee, with some of the classified siding with administration. At time point 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 29 seconds into the recording, Holmes said, quote, I've talked to you about my frustrations literally with the Budget Committee. The Budget Committee, administration, the Budget Committee classified that didn't support this BP 6200, 6250 budget reserves resolution. This body's resolution, even though it's a primarily rely upon, and we've come back and I've said that I'm disappointed with the Board of Trustees. But the fact of the matter is I'm disappointed in every single administrator and every single classified who voted not to support our resolution. Because essentially those people are not respecting the codified rely primarily upon. At time point 1 hour and 34 minutes and 34 seconds into the recording, Holmes said, quote, just as I informed the Senate in the Budget Committee that administration and a few classified didn't support our 6250 resolution, end quote. At time point 1 hour and 48 minutes and 42 seconds into the recording, a senator brought up what happened with the classified at the Budget Committee. Now, in my March 15th President's report, I explain what is the Budget Committee, referred to by Holmes, and how BC's classified on the BC Budget Committee actually unanimously supported the faculty position. For the March 1st meeting, I prepared the effect of creating DEI Committee on EODAC document that described what would happen to EODAC with the formation of the DEI Committee, and how the February 15 approved EODAC charge would need to be changed. By March 1st, we had the cure and correct from Holmes, so we couldn't discuss DEI in the Senate until March 29, and therefore I couldn't explain where the document came from. However, you can see that it comes right from Holmes's red font document and the February 15 and earlier discussion. The effects of DEI on EODAC document I prepared says right at the top, the faculty would be withdrawn from EODAC as described by the Article 8 of the Senate Bylaws, Section 13. Furthermore, Statements 2 and 3 and all of the sub-bullets of Statement 3 assume that Statement 1 is a fact and only make sense if Statement 1 is a fact. Why would the classified and administration components of the new EODAC tasks in Statement 3 be determined by the faculty? If faculty are taking care of the faculty component of those tasks in the DEI Committee, do we really think the classified administration reps on EODAC would agree to faculty voting on the classified and administration components? Statements 1, 2, and 3 of the document were assumed to be fact by McNellis and Holmes. McNellis's cure and correct makes this crystal clear when he states that we should remove just the last line of the DEI effect on EODAC document, quote, because it constitutes your opinion, the Senate President's opinion. The last line of the original version stated, quote, easy in principle, but probably will be very difficult to do in practice, especially if there's disagreement between the two committees. Now, recall the 3 times the frustration with the classified action was expressed at the February 15th meeting. And the whole reason for creating the DEI committee in the first place is because of conflict with EODAC. The opinion has a substantial basis in evidence. If statement 1 is not a fact, but is just an opinion of the Senate President, then why didn't McNellis bring that out? Why didn't the Senate bring that out when it had approved the cure and correct? Well, it's because they and the rest of us assumed statement 1 to be a true factual statement, a logical conclusion based on the public record. At the March 15 Senate meeting, at time point 19 minutes and 19 seconds of the recording, Holmes says in his public comment, quote, "I'm here today to discuss the reason why DEI committee should exist. First of all, our president has identified that EODAC and DEI can coexist. He's published that document, although I would disagree with his last statement saying that he highly doubts that they could work in cooperation with each other. I think they can." That is the only comment Holmes makes about the DEI effect on EODAC document. He did not disagree with the other statements made in the document. That is the only comment made by anyone about the document at that meeting, because Holmes's cure and correct demanded that the Senate wait until March 29 to discuss the DEI committee. Holmes's public comment does seem to mark a softening of his view, though, toward the classified and administration on EODAC. The frustration and disappointment from the February 15th meeting is not visible. It looks like there had been some discussion among some senators and officers outside of the meetings that had changed opinions about whether or not the faculty would be removed from EODAC. At the April 19th meeting, and this starts at 21 minutes and 50 seconds into the recording, in his argument in favor of the DEI committee formation, Holmes said that, quote, "EODAC could continue to coexist, and it would be the responsibility of this body, the Senate, to determine its membership." Okay, and that last part there is at time point 22 minutes and 32 seconds of the recording. That hints at faculty remaining on EODAC because the Senate approves only the faculty membership on a committee. At time point 1 hour and 2 minutes and 16 seconds of the April 19 recording, a senator says, quote, "One of the arguments against it is that passing the DEI committee would automatically remove the faculty from EODAC, and maybe that is connected with this question. I don't think that has to happen. It's not my understanding that Stephen Holmes intended it that way, that he intended that if we pass it, then that removes the faculty. And he said it can coexist. One of the things that I think would be great is that we could have a DEI committee that it's only for those 10+1 issues that protects our faculty rights towards it, then advises the EODAC. You can even have the faculty that are on EODAC be the same faculty on DEI. I'm not moving that or anything, but it could be that case, and I think it would just provide a forum for our faculty right to be protected. So I think that we definitely have them coexist. I think you could have faculty on both of them, and that would be good. We could still have a faculty caucus on the EODAC without having the DEI committee whatsoever. That was never a problem. Well, anyway, this new rationale is contrary to Statement 1 of the DEI effect on EODAC document, and it ignores the 8 of the 12 tasks in the EODAC charge that Holmes said was 10+1. Will the faculty on EODAC just work on the 4 tasks, not in the 10+1, while the rest of EODAC discusses and votes on the other tasks, the other 8 tasks? Would a new EODAC charge have just 4 tasks listed in it so the faculty could participate and vote? The referendum did not overturn the February 15 Senate action approving the EODAC charge with all of the 12 tasks and the membership. So does the April 19th Senate action contradict the referendum result or not? The new rationale seemed to make it reasonable for some senators to vote in favor of forming the DEI committee. However, others who voted against the formation of DEI committee assumed that statement 1 of that DEI effect on EODAC document I created was fact. Isn't it understandable why there's confusion about whether or not the faculty will be removed from EODAC? Given the confusion and the upcoming consultation with the IEPI group about the DEI efforts at BC in the fall, it may be better to wait until the fall semester to get this figured out. I have it listed on the agenda as an action item, but the action can be to postpone the DEI formation and removal of faculty from EODAC until we can sort this out in the fall. The faculty signups for EODAC can continue for now.